And Doug Vaughan and his victims now have something in common. They all face lives they never imagined. A federal judge today compared the disgraced real estate mogul to some of New Mexico's most infamous criminals, right up there with Billy the Kid, and then hit him with a maximum sentence.
12 years in prison, but victims of his $75 million Ponzi scheme say it's a small price to pay. News 13's Katie Kim was in the courtroom.
Vaughan sat quietly as he listened to his victims tell story after story about how he ruined their lives. Then he begged for their forgiveness.
I think justice was a little shy on what they should have been doing. But I'm glad it's over.
Victims of convicted crook Doug Vaughan walked away from federal court today with a bit of closure, knowing Vaughan is headed to prison. But as more than 600 victims say, they're living in a prison of their own, humiliated and stripped of their life savings.
The victims will never be satisfied. They'll never be made whole.
Vaughan stole $75 million from friends who thought they were investing in his real estate company. Instead, he was using that money to keep his company from going under and to buy a mansion, luxury furniture, a Ferrari, high-end jewelry, and trips around the world.
The tragedy here is that no matter what the sentence is, none of the victims are going to be able to recoup any of what they lost.
But federal prosecutors say justice was served. A judge sentenced Vaughan to the maximum under a plea deal, 12 years in prison. Prosecutors say that's the equivalent of a life sentence for the soon-to-be 65-year-olds. Vaughan and his defense were hoping for 10 years, starting with a year in alcohol rehab.
Mr. Vaughan's lost everything, and so I am sympathetic for the victims, and he's very sympathetic also. He's accepted responsibility for his crime.
But his victims say the punishment doesn't fit the crime. In court, Vaughan apologized and asked for forgiveness, saying he's found God. He was secretly escorted out of the courthouse into a car with tinted windows so he could avoid the media.
Vaughan must surrender to prison officials by Friday. With good time, Vaughan could be out in less than 11 years when he's 75. Back to you.
Okay, Katie, Vaughan will spend the first 2 years in a medium security Colorado prison. Then he could be moved to a minimum security facility, which is sarcastically referred to as Club Fed.